Hello and welcome. You're watching Property Hotline with me, Kavita Krishnan, on Magic Bricks Now. This is the show where you get answers to all your property-related questions from India's top experts. Today, we'll be answering questions related to buying, selling, or investing in real estate. And our expert for the day is Amit Goenka, who's MD and CEO at Nisus Finance. Amit, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So, we've already have somebody who's called in. Neeru Arora has called in. Neeru, go ahead. Tell us what's your question.
Yeah.
Neeru?
Hello.
Yes, Neeru. Tell us what's your question.
Yeah. Good evening. Myself, Neeru. I have seen one project of Panchil Pratishtha in Sector 75, Noida. And I would like to know more about this project. And I have seen one 1495 square feet area flat, but maybe its super area is much than to carpet area is very less and loading is much. I just would like to clarify that.
Okay, so Neeru, essentially what you're saying is you're looking to buy a flat where the area of which is 1495 square feet, and you're saying that the carpet area is very less, as in the loading is quite high. What is the built-up area that the developer is giving you?
Built-up area, I think they have mentioned only super area, 1495.
So the agreement is being made on the super built-up area?
Yeah.
Okay, which is 1495. Do you have any idea what is the carpet area that they're giving you?
No, they have not mentioned. And also, I would like to know that is it feasible to purchase flat in this project?
Should she buy a flat in this project? Amit, they are making an agreement on super built-up area, which in itself is against the rules. I mean, you have to sell on carpet area. What would you advise, Neeru?
So Neeru, first of all, I think Noida has seen its share of challenges, and the sector you're looking at, Sector 75, is towards Noida Extension. Noida Extension has been one of the most hit sectors or micro markets in that vicinity because of land issues, as well as a number of the type of developers who went to develop in Extension. But this particular developer, Panchil, is still a very well-known and reputed developer of Noida. They have actually delivered and given possession of a number of buildings. Typically, the loading factor in Noida is between 20 to 25% from the top. So, if you have a 1500 square foot saleable or built-up area being offered to you, your carpet should not be less than 1150 to 1200 square feet.
Amit, hang on over there. I want to ask you something. Now, Neeru is very clearly saying that the agreement is being made on the super built-up area. She has no clue what is the carpet area. If she even wants to figure out what is the carpet area she's getting, how does she go about it? Because the builder is not going to allow you to physically walk into the flat and start measuring the room,
I mean, even if he did allow, it would be an expensive and difficult proposition to carry out. But you do get floor plans as per the approval of the Noida Authority, because the floor plans do very clearly specify, and all approvals are on built up and carpet area. So first of all, you must insist on finding out what the equivalent carpet area is from the sales gallery or from the developer. They're bound to tell you. As Kavita rightly mentioned, it is the law that you have to sell on carpet area as well, or mention the carpet area in your agreement. So do make an attempt to find out. Second is, do ask for the floor plan, because nowadays, especially with the real estate regulatory bill now hopefully coming into effect very soon, and even as a practice now being proposed by most of the leading developers of the country, they do provide an approved floor plan as per the approval of the authority, and that will obviously be very easily be able to tell you what the carpet area is of that particular property. So once you do find out and you are able to figure out that it is within 1150 to 1200 square feet carpet, then you are definitely within the market range of what you should be receiving. If it's in any less, then clearly it is not in line with market practice. With that, you could also look at other options, because it is still an underdevelopment property. Noida Extension has been in development for the last 10 years. You can actually find ready-to-move-in properties at effectively the same price. For example, JM Housing of JM Aroma is a property which you can use for a move-in buying option, where you can even start earning some rent. That is one option to look at. It will cost you roughly about 5,000 rupees per square foot, and you can go for a 2 or a 3 BHK apartment in that vicinity. Another one, as you can see on the screen, is Ames Max Gardenia. Again, it is being handed over in the next few months. So one thing about Noida is try and go for as close as it is possible to completion or possession. Do not bet too much on under construction properties. There's a lot of fraud there.
Also, I mean, like she says, the agreement, again, I'm asking you this again, they are making the agreement on the super built up area. Isn't that in itself a red flag? Should she be actually going ahead with this property deal?
Well, the thing about Noida is that they don't register the agreements because these are agreements for sale. And it is finally the sale deed that is only registered at the time of possession. And it is only in the sale deed, which you don't get to see now, which will be registered only upon possession, that will all these actual details start coming out. So in a lot of places, for example, in Mumbai, you will only get a possession, you will only get an allotment letter, but the sale deed has to mention the carpet area. Likewise, in the NCR region, the sale deed will end up mentioning the carpet area, but your agreement for sale, which is more like a initial builder-buyer agreement, may actually not mention the carpet area because it's not going to get registered any which ways.
Right. So, Neeru, if you do want to go ahead and buy in this project, then you have to get your due diligence done. You need to be very, very careful before you sign on the dotted line. But here are your rights, and let me summarize them for you. This is the rights that you have as a home buyer. All the home buyers have this. One is you have a right to ask for the floor plan. Ask the developer to give you a clear floor plan that has been approved by the authorities. Now, if the developer doesn't give you and you are still interested to buy a flat in this project, go get an RTI application done and the government will have to give you the floor plans. Second, only sign an agreement that mentions the carpet area. This is the basic minimum that you can ask for and expect the developer to give you, right? So those are your rights for you. Otherwise, like Amit said, play safe, stay conservative, go and invest in a project where they are about to hand over the flats, which is nearing possession or one which is ready to move in.
Also look at Noida Expressway. I think the upside is actually going to come in Noida Expressway. I think Noida Extension in Ghaziabad is seeing a lot of froth. You know, look at Sector 119. They are ready to move in.
We have other questions. Amit,
sure.
We have Amol Shanbhag who's written in on our website. He wants to know which is the next developing area in Bangalore, according to you, for investing in property. Now, all of us know, okay, this is beyond the IT corridor. Tell us something beyond the IT corridor in Bangalore.
Well, unfortunately, IT corridor is the only story in Bangalore and not necessarily sticking to Whitefield or to Electronic City or one of those typical sort of belts. But yes, I would still go more towards North Bangalore. I think South as well as Southwest Bangalore actually has seen the most amount of built up because of the classical IT developments of Whitefield or around the Electronic City. So I would currently stay away from that market. Our recent investments have been all in North Bangalore or towards northwest or northeast of Bangalore. So, for example, in North Bangalore, we are currently focusing on Thani Sandra, Yelahanka, and going towards Manyata Tech Park, that is towards Sakar Nagar, etc. Of course, it becomes more expensive as you come towards Sakar Nagar. So, stay more on the northern corridor, which is towards Yelahanka or towards more towards the airport corridor, because a lot of the influx is actually going in that direction. And as you can see, Thani Sandra has actually shown a 29% escalation, which is actually super normal compared to most micro markets in Bangalore.
Yeah, and let us tell you that, markets across the country have stayed flat. So if you're looking at a 29% growth, I mean, that market sure has a lot going for it. 5,689 is where prices are averaging in this market.
Right, and Sakar Nagar has already gone up. I would also look at the Western Corridor. Another very key important area for us is looking at now the industrial development of Bangalore, not just the IT development. So markets like Budgiri, Hoskote, etc., which are home to people like Volvo or Honda and things like that, are actually showing, because they are 1-2 BHK. They're not necessarily depending on the migrant IT population, but they're really the blue and the white collar population. So that's again seeing some significant amount of
what kind of a budget would Amol need to invest in these areas?
So typically the band is between 4,000 to 5,000 rupees a square foot if you're in the Thani Sandra, if you're in the Yelahanka belt. And similarly in Hoskote, it is more towards 3,000 to 3,500. So if you're looking at a 1 BHK, and you do actually get a lot of 1 and 2 BHK options, you will be actually able to not need to invest more than 40-50 lakhs.
Right, and that's Yelahanka for you, 5,209 rupees per square foot. Prices have gone up 20% over there in the last 1 year alone. So like Amit is saying, these are hot markets. These are like really, really hot markets, and you should be probably looking at these to invest in your property. Is there any upside left? We're looking at 20%, 25% growth Is there any upside left in these markets?
So one is that, because a lot of people actually now have started refocusing on the northern markets. One is that new developments are actually, or even late stage developments are available at a discount. For almost 5 to 10% off that. I also see that while markets like Sakar Nagar are already at 7,500, whereas Yelahanka at 5,000, I see Yelahanka actually moving closer to 5,500, 6,000 rupees over the next 18 odd months. And a lot of new developments have actually being launched at 5,500 and 6,000 rupees. So I do see a 20% upside further left.
So another 20% upside in these markets. Let's move on. We have a question that comes in on Twitter from Neeraj Panchal. Neeraj tweets and says he wants to know about the future of Taloja, keeping in mind the metro rail and the upcoming BKC2 in Kharghar for end use. Now, BKC2 was something that CIDCO's MD announced on Magic Bricks Now. So, obviously, he is a regular viewer, and which is why he sent in that question. Tell us, how do you see Taloja coming up?
Yeah, Neeraj, very interesting question. It's hard to find people generally talk about markets like Taloja. It's a very interesting market, especially because it has been fraught with a lot of land issues as well as zoning issues in the past. It's largely been an area for warehousing and industrial development. But of late, a number of companies have gone and started building in Taloja affordable housing. Some of them being NK Homes, Arihant Superstructures, etc. Again, Taloja is very affordable compared to Kharghar or any of the other Navi Mumbai sort of micro markets. It's within the 4,000 to 4,500 price bracket, which makes it very attractive, especially, for example, if you do have more trunk infrastructure, the Nhava Sheva corridor getting developed, then I think Taloja is bound to see a huge amount of upside. We've seen a lot of industrialization moving towards Taloja very rapidly, even away from the Navi Mumbai and the main CBD locations towards Taloja. So I think from a 5 to 7 year perspective, I see Taloja actually appreciating by more than 40-50% from current levels.
40-50% appreciation. Also, Amit, we've had experts who've come on this channel, other experts on other shows who've told us about how there's a lot of investment now moving onto the Thane-Belapur industrial belt, and this is not manufacturing investment. There's a lot of services-driven investment. So I guess the profile of this area is also going in for a change, right?
That's right. So from being an area which was largely for for the octroi, outside octroi limits, storage and warehousing, it's now becoming a more infill location with industries moving there, with manufacturing moving there. Some of the ITS looking at moving there at some point in time. But obviously, for ITS to move, it will have to still develop more as a micro market with its social and eco-social infrastructure, which is still some time away. But purely from an investor asset class, I don't think it's still an end-user asset class as such. I think still it's an investor asset class or an area, and still it's about 3 years away.
And it is at what you typically tend to call the sweet spot of the market. It's it's averaging 4,475 rupees per square foot. Prices have run up 4%, which is not too much, but like Amit says, there's a promise of prices going up 50% in that location. So great location. Do look at investing, and once you shortlist some properties, do come back to us and we'll help you make a good and empowered decision. Let's move on. Rajiv Gupta has written in through email. He says that he's planning to invest in a 3 BHK apartment at DLF Capital Greens, Moti Nagar, Delhi. He wants to buy it for end use. It is his first apartment. He wants to know if it is a good buy for 1,800 rupees per square foot for a 3 BHK apartment, and also what are the key documents that he should verify before buying this property. First time home buyer. What would you have to say to Rajiv?
Sure,
is that a good choice?
Yeah, Rajiv, I think for a Delhi resident, staying within the city of Delhi itself is a great choice rather than going to the peripheral areas which are still plagued by a lot of infrastructure issues. Well, Delhi, of course, has its own challenges, but DLF Capital Greens is a very mature project. It has 3 phases. The first phase of it has already been developed. Moti Nagar, again, is hardly about 20 to 30 minutes away from CP, so still a very, very infill location within the outer ring road micro market. Again, the price really there is about 10,000 to 12,000 rupees per square foot. So if you're looking at about 2,000 square feet apartment, you're looking to roughly invest about 1.8 to 2 crores. For an end user, it's a great location because A, there are not very many new developments within Delhi itself. Delhi has not really come up with its new master plan. They've not come up with anything after the DD or the Commonwealth Games. So there are very few projects like these which are actually being developed and handed over as an ultra modern development option within Delhi. Most of the options options are really mostly archaic or legacy developments. So this is a great
most
opportunity.
Of them are very high price. I mean, 1,800 rupees per square
No,
foot.
it's actually 10,000, Kavita. It's actually 10,000 rupees a square foot. This is within Delhi.
Okay, but
yes.
which is what I was wondering. How is 1,800 rupees per square foot? Where are you getting it today? I was going to ask him that.
No, it's actually 10,000 rupees per square foot. But you're getting ready to move in apartments as well in second sale, because Delhi pricing has been extraordinarily under pressure. People have moved to alternate locations which have been cheaper, like Noida, Gurgaon, etc., putting a lot of pressure on Delhi pricing in general. And sales have been dismally slow, which means that this is a fantastic time for people to actually, as an end consumer, get a bargain into a ready-to-move-in property, because I don't think you should actually really wait for phase 2 or phase 3 to complete. You will get great deals even phase 1, which is ready. You can get into a great apartment, which is ready.
So Rajiv, Rajiv, you probably need to relook at the pricing over there. It's obviously not 1,800 rupees a square foot. Like Amit said, it's probably around 10,000 rupees a square foot, but it is a great property to buy into, and there is very little supply coming into that part of the Delhi market. So if you can get a good deal, if you can drive a good bargain, make sure you buy into it. With that, it's time for a break, a quick break on Property Hotline. But before we slip into a short break, let me take this opportunity to invite investors like you, home buyers like you, for our budget special episode. This will be anchored by our editor Faye D'Souza on February 29th, that is budget day, between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. If you want to ask your questions on real estate or anything related to your investment, do join us in our Lower Parel studio and ask your questions in person. If you want to get in touch, there's an email ID at the bottom of your screens. We'd look forward to hear from you. Welcome back. You're watching Property Hotline with me, Kavita Krishnan. Amit Goenka is with us in the studio, and he's answering all your questions related to buying, selling and investing in real estate. Hiren has joined us on the phone. Hiren, tell us, what's your question?
Hey, thank you very much. And my question is very simple. In Pune, especially in Pune, in Hinjewadi area, there are many builders who are giving the land stating it is a proposed R-zone properties.
Okay.
So is it safe to invest in those properties?
Okay, Amit, can you begin by breaking down what is an R-zone property, and then also tell Hiren whether it's safe to invest in that?
Certainly. So there was a master plan for Pune which was unveiled for the year 2012 to 2022. And while that was rolled out, parts of it got implemented and parts of the zoning got changed. So typically, a city is divided into multiple zones depending on its use. So it could be industrial, it could be residential, it could be commercial, could be non-development zones or agricultural zones. Hinjewadi largely was an agricultural zone, and it still has huge tracts of land which are in the agricultural belt. As per the new master plan to promote the IT/ITES zone in Hinjewadi, it was proposed in the new master plan to convert some of those parcels into a potential R zone or even a township policy. Some of those which are not zoned under the township policy of over 100 acres had managed to actually convert it using the Township Act of Maharashtra. But it's very, very clear that the government's regulations are not time bound. So if there is no zone change which has happened so far, one cannot speculate or bet on that. So there's no question of safety. Safety is only what you really have as of now, not what you can speculate you will have in the future. Second of all, because it's a government issue, no developer or no individual can actually warrant or state with any degree of confidence that it will become an R zone. Unless there is a document which is available where, for example,
this document?
So there is a conversion certificate you get from a non-agricultural to an agricultural, but that is only change of use. But zoning is really a master planning issue. It's a town planning issue.
So how can a buyer check that?
No, you can't. So whenever you do get of course, you get property documents where which can be verified at any revenue records office as to whether a particular khata number or CST number or zone number is under a particular zone. Every municipal ward office has those details. The revenue records have those details. The collector's office has those details as to what property lies in which zone and what is the current usage of that property, what is the corresponding FSI available there, can you actually build on it or not. So all this information is available. There are extracts that you can actually pay a fee at the municipal office in the vicinity and avail of those extracts relating to those particular land parcels, which will tell you the exact status of those land parcels. So one must obviously do that due diligence and not rely on representation of anybody, especially when buying land.
So Hiren, that's your answer. Do your due diligence. Don't rely on what the developer is telling you if you plan to buy in one of those land parcels. Moving on, Ritu has written in on our website www.mbnow.in. She says that she belongs to Indore, has a budget of 20 lakh rupees or below for buying a flat in Indore from an investment point of view. Now she's planning to rent it out in the longer run and then sell it out. She might want to shift as a second option. Does that seem like a good plan? Indore is one of the smart cities.
Absolutely.
And it is a trading hub. So I'm sure that there is enough demand for rent and sale over there.
Well, Indore actually came up as a trading city, started developing also as an educational hub, and was obviously one of the most important cities of the state, because of which it saw a flurry of activities between 2005 and 2010, then almost coming to a halt with prices not just correcting sharply but also demand evaporating in a large way. AB Road became one of the most sought after destinations in the entire Indore city as the new corridor for development. Clearly Indore, with the smart city tag or potential smart city tag it is trying to acquire, seems like it is going to come back in a big force, especially now that infrastructure has come in. The government is making significant efforts to bring in water, electricity and other basic amenities in Indore. If you look at it from an affordability perspective or from a price perspective, you still have the bypass road, and there are a number of projects on the bypass road.
Right.
For example, you have InfoCity, which is under construction. It's with 1,500 to 2,000 rupees per square foot, makes it very, very affordable for a 2 or 3 BHK. It is slightly futuristic, of course. It will take about 2 or 3 years to develop and for it to then obviously become useful from a renting.
How long, very quickly, Amit, tell us how long for, the benefits of the smart city tag to actually trickle in to real estate prices?
Well, that's $1 million question, I'm sure, for all the 20 smart cities that have been shortlisted. But I think Indore has a very, very strong chance. It already has all the basic ingredients in place to make it smarter, make it more efficient. I think if you are not a big investor, stick to ready properties. That's always been our advice. There are a number of opportunities in Nipania and Indore where you get ready possession. Again, just about 3,500 to 4,000 rupees a square foot for a 1 BHK will again make you fit your budget.
Right.
Similarly, there is Mahalakshmi Nagar in Indore again, where within 3,000 rupees a square foot you can get your
right,
pick.
Ritu, there you have it. Top picks in Indore and good market to invest into at the moment. It's got a smart city tag as well. Let's move on. Amol Dabolkar writes in through email. He says he's planning to invest in a 1 BHK flat. Budget is 30 to 35 lakh rupees and he's ready to stay invested for the next 5 years. He's also not in a hurry for possession. He can wait 2 to 3 years for possession. Please suggest a good area and project in PCMC, Pune. This is purely for investment purpose. Amit, we are running out of time.
Yeah, sure.
Quickly.
So very good, Amol. I think PCMC is a great location to first start looking at as opposed to more of the infill locations. There are a number of very, very credible developers like Kalpataru Estates, like Pride. Kalpataru has a project in Pimple Gaurav in that area, which is roughly about 6,000 rupees a square foot. You have Pride at Wakad, which is at about 5,000 rupees a square foot, a great investment at that price. There's Arun Park again, which is in Chinchwad, which is at 5,500 rupees a square foot. So these are, stay within 6,000 rupee bracket. That's one. Go for one of these developers which are far more renowned for their quality and for their construction. There are a number of smaller single tower developers in the entire PCMC belt.
Right, and there we have the charts for you. Pimple Gaurav averaging around 6,378. If we could also show you the Wakad chart. The Wakad prices are averaging around 6,136 rupees per square foot. Both good markets to enter into, and like Amit said, good price points as well. So yeah, if you're looking at like a 5-year horizon, great market to get into at the moment. With that, we're completely out of time on Property Hotline today. Thank you very much, Amit Goenka, and hope to see more of you in future.
Thank you, Kavita.
We'll be back on Saturday to answer some more questions from you on buying, selling or investing in property. You know how to reach out to us. You can write in on email, on Facebook, on our website www.mbnow.in. You can also send in video queries. So if you want to be seen as well as heard, pick up that smartphone, record a question, send it across to feedback@mbnow.in. You could also tweet to me. I'd love to hear from you, or call in live like all the other callers you saw on the show tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Keep watching Magic Bricks Now.